So let's pick up from the 4 questions that you worked on from our very first chemistry session.
Okay.
What kind of insights did you get from that? What answers came up for you?
The first one about like what do I want for myself, right? So I wrote happy and enjoyable time working very hard for a meaningful cause with a bunch of people who contribute in different ways. Yeah. And the second one is an exit plan for myself.
Mm.
It would be nice to see how to experience life in a slower but richer and fulfilling way. And then the third one, I thought of like something different and interesting to work on, to take more risk, because as I'm working through my project, I realized that I'm making quite conservative choices because I'm afraid that I fail to deliver. And being in this environment, there's a lot of yeah. And lastly is to grow my leadership skills, because I think I'm quite a soloist. Yeah. And I'm not very comfortable like delegating work and trusting people. Yeah. So but it will help. Important life skill. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I always had this idea to start my own school in the future. Yeah. And then yeah, so if I grow as a leader, then I'll be more confident and also be legitly more capable.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
so this
Okay. There was a lot of work done. Both the reflection and the attempts to apply or to observe yourself, to increase your self-awareness. So out of all that came out for you, what was most helpful for you?
oh, I think the first one is reminding myself that this project is a means to an end, which is while I'm very invested in delivering my job,
Mm.
like I shouldn't forget like my own own end goal, own personal goal, like which is to get out of this job
Mm.
in a good way. Yeah.
Mm.
So that is helpful. Like, so rather than focusing on all the things that are not great, right? Like I should focus more on what I want to move towards. Yeah. So that's what's most helpful.
Mm.
And I feel that the added stress that I give myself is maybe is the unsaid expectations that people have that I can feel. Yeah.
Mm.
And maybe it's also my own expectations of other people that I didn't articulate. These are the things that feel quite heavy and
Mm.
it's distracting me from performing well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think I need to be more proactive in asking for feedback also. Yeah.
Mm.
From my bosses. Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have mentioned 3 key things, at least that's what I'm hearing. You mentioned the means, you've mentioned the end, right? This is a means to an end. And
Yeah.
you've also described the heaviness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one would be useful to explore a little bit more?
Intuition says
Mm.
heaviness. Yeah.
Okay, so what does intuition want to say about heaviness?
Oh, you want to say it's very stupid, right? Okay, let me think. I think maybe the first ground is that this environment that I'm in is very different from what I was used to. And even though I've been navigating it for the past 1 year, I can't seem to really wrap my head around it, which is a lot of things doesn't make sense.
Mm.
And maybe people are not what I expect them to be. it's a very mellow dynamic. But very mellow. Like even sometimes I feel like I lose my edge because I need to assimilate into this type of culture. Yeah. So I become softer, like jelly. But that's not what I want to be. Like I feel like too young for this. Yeah. So because of that, I feel like I have to do a lot of pushing to get things done. Yeah. And so I may not really like that. Like I like to be in a project where there are co-leaders. Maybe sometimes I also like to just follow something or someone who is wiser. And then I get a lot out of their conversation. Yeah. So this is the heaviness, like which is like, oh, will there eventually be a point to all this at the end of 1 year? Why should I be here to sacrifice my life? Yeah. So this is the feeling.
Okay. So you've described a few things that in the last couple of minutes, right? What exactly is causing the heaviness?
It also could be my fear of how other people would think of me or look at me. So example, the image that I see in my mind is my colleague. A very good like support person lah. So her personality is much more introverted and maybe the word is weaker. And I think being around her triggers me a lot because I have an issue with like very weak people. Yeah. So and that be at then the other side would be whom I think supposed to lead and be wiser and be more knowledgeable. But then just not doing his job very well. And so I don't feel supported in my environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you have liked it to be instead?
Okay. So just to a reference back to my former boss, who is a very brilliant guy, full of ideas and energy. He's always thinking about innovating. But I think ideally he would be the kind of guy that I would want to work with, because I think he believes in greatness lah, and it's very rare to find someone like that. And and then maybe in this current role, I'm just trying to prove to myself that I can actually do it on my own.
How's that? How's that so far?
Actually, I think it's not too bad.
Okay.
Because I'm making progress, and I think there's definitely a comparison between what I'm producing and what my boss used to produce. Like example, in terms of the writing quality. So my boss was a great writer, and to me, writing is like a quiet skill that I only got better as I grew older. So sometimes I don't even think in such a sharp way, but my boss could. And I do measure myself towards that. So there's always this nagging feeling that, oh, my work is not good enough. Or like it's not insightful enough. And then people are going to be disappointed.
So that kind of sounds like the bucket of expectations that you've mentioned a few times actually, your expectations of other people
Yeah,
and your expectations of yourself,
yeah,
expectations that you feel other people are putting onto you. So it seems like
yeah,
that's a theme going on there.
true. Yeah,
How much do you think expectations is affecting your current state?
affecting my current state.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's affecting me a lot in a way that it shouldn't be. So
Mm.
because the alternative is that the alternative for me is just like super confident and then like don't care about anything, right? Because all these things
Mm.
are like wasted energy anyways.
Mm.
So it will definitely be more productive if I don't have all this. If I don't carry this bucket with me,
Mm.
just focus on the work. Yeah. And then I think that will clear up my mind for more clarity. Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more? Anything else you want to say about that?
Or maybe it's just generally my expectation of myself all the time. Yeah. Maybe it's also like uh it served me in some ways where I push myself to
Mm.
they work over the weekends and then read a lot of papers and try to find answers. Yeah. And it serves the team also because it's like wow, every week is like a different thing. It's a different stage that we get to. But of course I
Mm.
don't tell them like oh how hard I work to pull
Mm.
this off. Yeah.
Mm. All right. So if you weren't the way you are now, how would you like to be?
Mm, I will like to be much
Okay.
like honestly I think then I would give myself more space to explore about what I want. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rather than
Rather than
um, being worried if I could really take care of my parents.
mm, mm. Would you mind sharing what that's about? It's a lot of emotion that just came up. Like what were you seeing when in that moment?
A green a green pasture.
Mm.
So this like grass and field and I see myself like say running around
Mm.
and just be like playful and carefree.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't seem like something that I can afford to do. So um yeah, because I'm not sure what my parents would do if let's say I'm still like I'm not alive anymore or um like I'm not well functioning. Yeah, so in the front is like I see myself playing in a empty field, but then at the back I see both my parents waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Waiting for you.
to like I don't know, like bring home something or save them of their misery or so the front view is like colorful, right? But
Mm.
both my parents are like in gray,
Mm. Mm.
That's the image that I have lah.
Mm.
It may not really be true in real.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, it must be important enough because it came up. What would you change about the image? You're an artist. That's what I know. What would you change in the image?
Change.
If you had
Uh,
your paints and your pencil and your paintbrush, whatever medium that you use.
yeah, I think first one I would change is that I'm no longer the little child lah. Yeah,
Okay.
the that I don't need to like play so much or live in some kind of paradise. And the second thing I'll change is it's the image that I have of my parents that maybe it's not so miserable, or they don't look so sunken
Mm.
or so pathetic. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, so instead of them being like gray and be still, then I think they're still very much alive and they have their own thing, and they're doing their best to live their lives. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what would you do to that picture to change the little girl and the parents?
Okay. Yeah, this is a bit scary for me. It feels like I would like to have a conversation with them
Mm-hmm.
that I have grown up, and I wish I
Mm-hmm.
wish they would set me free, and that I don't have to bear like so much responsibility on being a filial child or being their emotional support.
Mm.
Yeah.
What would it feel like to be set free?
Mm. Then I can probably really be an artist and express who I am, yeah, freely,
Mm-hmm.
and not having to be worried about whether this is practical or not. Yeah.
Mm.
I always have this aversion towards art sometimes. Like when I look at their exhibition, like, do this for what? Like, it's useless. But
Mm.
I think it is actually not my voice, right? That's like my mom's voice, probably.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that art has to be practical. Yeah. So that part would change lah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what your mom's voice would say. What would
Yeah.
your voice say?
My voice would say that I really love myself a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I deserve the kind of life that I want,
Mm-hmm.
and so does everyone else. And yeah, when we can be free to do things that don't make any sense, and it's all going to be okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And how much does that manifest in your life right now?
How much does that?
Mm.
Let me think. Actually, if I were to be honest, I am really in quite a fortunate position, because even in the projects that I get at work, they are already in a very liberating zone. Like, how often do you get projects where your boss say, hey, you know what? Just go figure out something and then propose to us and then go make it happen, right? Versus many other people who are saying, where the boss say, you're just like the worker and I want you to deliver. And on the contrary to joining a more hierarchical organization, I actually get to do that. Yeah. And this is like a common theme that I have throughout my other jobs, my previous companies as well. So I've always been quite fortunate already. Maybe it's just like the extra layer. The next 20% of freedom that I don't get. Yeah.
Okay. Which is what?
Which is like I don't need to work in a corporations.
Okay.
I can still earn a stable income that still able to save money for my parents' retirement. Yeah, and be comfortable, and I mean not like super comfortable, but sometimes it just feels like I need to be of a certain level so that my mom will not look down on me. Like I feel like I notice like it's like an ego thing. Yeah.
Oh, do you want to say a bit more about that? That I don't quite.
So it's also, for example, like I envision, what is the type of house that I want to buy? Then, what is the level of comfort that we want to have? But actually, I don't even need all this. It's like super simple, right? At least to live in a hostel and all these things. But I guess I'm just like very worried of my mom's perception or the things that she's going to say very outrightly to me.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Sometimes I think also doesn't make sense to listen. Yeah. Yeah.
So where are you at with everything that's come up?
I guess I'm at a happier place where I feel like a bit lighter after saying all this. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for the space. I also feel like actually a lot of times maybe I'm just like one step away from my goal to, like, let's say, do a sabbatical. Yeah, because I have enough money for it. I just need to finish this project until the next year before I can leave. So I'm always thinking like, how do I create the bridge to make this project worthwhile, not just for the organization, but for myself.
Okay.
Yeah lah, maybe I don't need to think so hard lah. So it's just like have fun and then see how it goes. Yeah, that like which is the point where I feel that I need to take more risk. I can't possibly succeed in everything. So stupid. Like last time when I talked to you and then you said what I think would happen instinctively, and I said, okay, it will turn out well because I've never done a project where I failed like gloriously. Then I think, oh my God, does that mean that I've been always doing very safe bets and therefore I never really failed? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know lah, something like that. Yeah.
That's I hear that voice in your head. I got that. Okay, so if you were to take more risks, don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Where does that feature in the painting?
The painting. Okay, so if I take more risks and I don't take it too seriously. So the image is me running around and I'm flying a kite.
And
And
there's lightning.
why?
Lyrics, why?
Oh, right. That's so morbid. But and then No. And then I have the ability to invite the people around me to play as well, because
Mm.
I'm very serious when I work. And then
Mm.
my boss will like tell me, hey, why you don't so serious lah, you know? Yeah, I get triggered. I'm like, you're so slack. But why are you so serious? Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm.
I think definitely my energy does affect people, right? And but
Mm.
but anyways, it's the image is that, yeah, I can invite more people to play
Mm-hmm.
in a constructive way, I guess. And then how to facilitate that, and also how to encourage more failure. Yeah, I think now everyone is like uptight and scared, and like, oh, we must prove something, we must show that we are better, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think that is just counterproductive. Yeah.
Mm. I get the lightheartedness that of that picture, flying a kite, inviting others to fly with you. Where does the risk taking
The,
part come in?
the kite is a lightning shape.
What?
No lah, just kidding. I think the risk is a series of projects that each of us could create. So even like as I envision what I would like to do next time is like to create an environment where people can experiment, right? Like you go to like a science project fair, and then you see so many different booths, and then you're like, oh, I did this volcano eruption thing. And then this other guy do something super ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's like basically it's like a hackathon, but it's funny.
Mm.
Like I was in New York, and then I attended a comedy hack. And you just did hackathon usually very serious, like you win like $20,000. But this comedy hack is just like a subversion of things. Okay, very unfit to my work, but
Mm.
yeah. Okay, but I think the point in the picture is where people have their own booths,
Mm-hmm.
create to chip in their ideas, and also me encouraging everyone and reminding them that despite what the management says, it's okay to fail. Yeah. And then I should definitely give them more ownership or space to do their thing. Yeah.
I caught on to something that might I just want to bring it to the table, see whether you want to juice, any juice from that.
Okay.
So you talked about the comedy hackathon, and then
Yeah.
you said it's unfit to my work,
Yeah.
right? But there's something about that that drew you. It's reflective of you. What would that be?
I think it's a subversive thing lah, which is like, I think what I remember was like people creating ideas that were ridiculous but useful. It's not completely like dumb, and so because that probably is where the best idea comes out, like something super unexpected.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's not completely absurd, it makes sense, but then still it's funny. Yeah.
Which part of you does that reflect?
Ah.
Mm.
So it's the jester part of me lah, which is like I am quite playful and I like to make fun of people. I think in a non-work environment, I'm able to really like relax and just be silly. And
Mm.
the and that is also the creative part of me, right? Yeah. And that could be quite dominant as well. I mean, the creative part of me is dominant.
Mm.
That part of me also more hopeful lah, and trusting and
Mm.
going the flow and being the moment. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. I love how you're recognizing that part of you.
Okay.
Um, But your example also seems to marry that part of you together with the usefulness, which has come up in your conversation before.
Oh, usefulness, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I want things to be practical.
There's a
Okay.
point, there's a purpose, there's a use for it. I mean, you also described that when you talked about a career
True.
as an artist. To me, yeah, that what drew you there, it's that creativity, it's that you like, right? Also that ability to the gesture that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But there's a usefulness that you saw in the entire process of that.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So there is a version that does exist where you can combine all these parts of you.
Oh, right. Right. Okay. Because previously I was rejecting it. Is it?
You're you can use like if those are your words, yes.
Oh,
The way I see it is that you're just torn. Like you can
yeah.
only be like that at a certain time in the workplace, and then you're the other person in
Yeah.
another situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So interesting. But I don't know how it works. Yeah. I don't know how it I guess I don't know yet, like how it
Mm-hmm.
works out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've not seen a model like that a lot, at least in Singapore. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's start with you, right? Because it's the brainchild. Like, if you, like, what is the like? Who is the brainchild of that comedy hackathon? Like they would have also looked around and said, okay, there's not a lot of that out there. All the hackathons are really
Uh,
serious.
true,
But it
true.
came from, or the source of it was from somebody
Yeah, correct.
who then manifested the thing.
Yeah.
So my invitation here is for you to look within and look at where you can shift into that and maybe embrace that.
Okay. So I need to do improv in my workplace. Hey guys, let's like do improv now. Then huh? What the fuck? uh
Well, the improv starts with you.
yeah, it is. It does. Yeah, okay. I get your point.
So if you were to create yourself like right now as
Yeah.
a different person,
Yeah.
what would you create?
Uh,
Improv mode on.
wait, if I were to create myself a different person, what would I create?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Wait. So is this in context of my work or is it
No.
in context of myself?
Yourself.
Self.
Yourself, yes. So don't worry about the form yet. A lot of times people worry about the form and they go like, because I can't see it, I don't know how it can be done. Or
Yeah,
I don't see the possibility of it.
yeah. True. I guess what I'm really seeing now is just me like jumping around like an idiot.
Okay.
I don't think I want to do it now, but
Jumping around like an idiot. Okay.
yeah, and maybe go around and look for things to do. Or very corny, like there's a way to like save the world, quote unquote. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in an unexpected way,
Mm.
not always like serious business and stuff. Yeah, and it's unique. So it's a unique offering.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That to me is you mentioned that rebellious side of you. I can see that
yeah.
aspect there.
Yeah, so it's like whatever that is mainstream, just find like a slice of something to poke through.
Mm.
That would be my identity or brand.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that. I love that analogy.
yeah,
I love the analogy. Like so if you don't mind me sharing what I see when you said that, right? Was like this cloth, right? And reality is how that cloth is woven. But when
yeah,
you say like just kind of find that slice, it's like you cut through the cloth and you kind of peer, it makes a little slit and you kind of peer through. And then
yeah.
that's where it's that black hole where possibilities exist.
Okay.
So it's like You're the cutter, you're the viewer, and I don't know what you're gonna do with that, but that's kind of where
Right.
I feel the anticipation of wow, what's gonna be
Oh,
possible if you really are that
I see.
person.
Because that requires like an appreciation of the nuances. Like, just got to, like, all the research that I do, then it's like
Mm,
blah 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 blah, and then you just like find that point. Or maybe it's
yes,
like coaching also. Yeah. So yeah,
yes. And it does take somebody who who is rebellious in that you don't take things as is,
yeah.
right? To be able to do that.
Mm, okay.
So what is the so you've described what this person is doing, jumping around, doing different things, right?
Yeah.
Sort of taking that thing, slicing through. What is the spirit of that?
The spirit. The so stupid, but I would say the spirit of thunder god. But
you watch you watch
because
Thor, is it?
yeah, because you put the image in my mind, but uh it almost can, because I was talking about slicing, but
Mm,
it's also a spirit of a gambler.
mm,
Yeah, because like you don't know what's gonna happen, and there's no way to predict, right? But just making bets, and then it's just like try to get people to be along with the bets that I make. Try
mm.
to convince them. Yeah.
What would it mean for you to begin to embody these that actually exist inside of you?
What would make me embody
No,
it?
what would it look like when you begin to embody these?
Wow. So that would be so different.
Oh,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
Also, I imagine myself like going to work as a very uh informidable person. Is that the right word, right? So
Yes,
I
yes.
won't be taken down by anyone's like doubts or authority. I'll just like go to work happy, and then like fuck yeah, I got this shit. So that's why I think it's some movie that I watched. I don't know. Um, it's that kind of spirit, right? Where
Mm,
we're happy, and then it's like we try this thing, and then I don't care what management say. Yeah. And then most I just quit my job if I fail, right? So
mm,
is that kind of spirit lah. Like we are here to do something, not just like do a job. Yeah.
mm, That's a nice. Earlier on, you had a question around how can I view this opportunity?
Yeah, true.
Is that like a dot? Are those two dots something that you can join? Like the answer to this question could lie in this whole. I'm not gonna say it on air though, like this FYIGTS.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
And
Okay.
yeah, we're here to do something and not just be
Yeah.
mellow and
Yeah.
comply
Yeah. Like
to all
fuck
this ambiguity.
compliance. But yeah, so sorry, your question was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, how do the dots join? How are you beginning to
Oh,
join those dots?
how do the dots join?
Yeah, this spirit and like
Spirit,
this question about what is this opportunity? How can you use this opportunity this 1 year?
okay. I think the key is like I guess I really have to give everything I got. Like I think I'm also limiting myself, like in terms of like how much I should give, how far I should push, what are the things I should say.
Mm,
Everything is now very guarded and has a lot of boundaries.
mm,
Or
mm,
I need to also stop believing that, oh, because I'm very low rank, so
mm,
cannot anyhow say things. Yeah. And I've really been trying to stand my ground. Yeah.
mm,
Which also takes additional energy. So maybe just really do something bold
mm,
and really solve the problems of our users. That's what I was here for. And
mm,
if that means that we need to course correct, then I would have to take the courage to admit that I was wrong. Yeah. and we need to shift.
Mm.
Yeah. So that would be the North Star.
Mm. Mm. Okay. And if you focused on this in the next 1 year, okay, where would this lead you to with regards to what you want to do in the future?
I think that will lead me to really know how to create something that serves value, yeah, rather than fluff. Yeah. And then that will naturally help me to start my own business. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then earn a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a real skill that has to be sharpened. Yeah.
Would you mind sharing a little bit more about that vision around starting your own thing and really
Hmm.
solving something?
So if we go back to the art thing, right, as an expression, or like it's an expression, maybe it's also a comedic expression, but it's also at the same time useful, challenging that two things that I couldn't link together. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, so if I can really solve real problems, then I can solve this problem. Yeah. Of how I was not able to link. And then I could trust myself,
Mm.
create something that the market might want, and I
Mm.
survive. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So if we were to tie that back to the purpose of you spending this 1 year doing this, what purpose would that be?
The purpose of me spending this 1 year doing this
Mm-hmm.
is that do
I
something
like the
that,
improv energy is like, come on, brain, just squeeze it out, man. Don't think so much.
yeah, yeah, is that I can really create something useful that people want, and it saves their lives. I guess like it would mean something. Yeah, everything that we do. The and like real change could happen. Then in terms of like the approach and all, like being lighthearted, that's the approach. Yeah.
Mm. You've done a lot of work in the last 1 hour.
My brain hurts.
But it's like yes, there's a lot of brain work. There was also the improv, right? Like you're just
Yeah.
kind of going with that creative part of you that we also want to empower. There was the emotional part that came in. You kind
Yeah.
of really
Yeah.
hitting a raw nerve in terms of what you're carrying.
Yeah.
So I just want to appreciate how you've jumped on a roller coaster
Yeah.
and you've just gone on this creative process yourself in the last 1 hour.
Okay.
And we didn't know where we are going, to be really honest. We just kind of went with it, and here we are.
Okay.
So what would you gather from today and and sort of put in your backpack moving forward on this journey?
Wow. Well, it's a lot. Okay, I think in essence is I would put more confidence in myself,
Mm-hmm.
my work, my the expression of my ideas, um, and my path, like where this is leading to. So maybe just the summarized theme is confidence.
That's an amazing thing to take away with you.
Yeah.
Let's kind of bring it back to the question that you had around or that we wanted to get to, which is how do you want to scope this coaching objective? What do you want to work on in the next, so I suppose we'll be working 3 months? Are you planning to do like a once monthly session or
Uh,
more frequent?
no, I think it depends on our schedule, right? So it could be once a month so that I have enough time to do something.
Mm,
Yeah, could be.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does the next 3 months look like then?
I think the first thing that I want to say is like in terms of my work by the end of October, I have a very clear scope for the team to work on so that they also feel safe to try an idea and an experiment. Because now there are too many uncertainties and they are very unfamiliar. So it's a very clear scope. Yeah. Maybe the second one is to come up a vision for myself also. Like after I exited, then what do I want to do? So that I don't spend another year ding-donging here and there, but I can just make a leap.
Mm.
So I think that's two things very ambitious already.
I like it.
Maybe it's a report of like how I am more confident and
Okay.
and as a result, how do I behave? How
Mhm.
did like the actions that I translate to, like in terms of, I guess, finding my voice within a group of people and even standing up against my bosses if needed to. Maybe I need to talk to a lot more confident women. Like I have like more role models to look up to, and then I can borrow some of the things that they do.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I really work in a very male-dominated environment.
So the first one is borrowing from other confident women,
Yes.
right? So that's kind of like, what would you say, that to keep you inspired and to
Yeah.
remind you that you're on the same journey, like you're on that same
Yeah.
path.
Like women can behave this way,
Mm.
this and that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then the second one you're saying is to empower your teammates to be more confident. So that sounds like you're building or you're gonna attempt to build an environment.
A safe space to speak up.
Okay,
Because I can sense the fear and them holding themselves back.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Anything else you wanna
Um,
cover to complete today's
yeah.
session?
Oh, complete that. No, I'm just wondering whether I can have this recording myself because I really forgot quite many things
Okay.
and it will be quite a waste, yeah, if I don't get to recap. So
Mm,
yeah,
can. Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you.
Nothing. Then that's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to give the learners a peek into what happened for you as the coachee.
Okay, okay. Right. So maybe I can give an analogy, which is the position that I put myself in as a coachee, right? Is that I guess I was really being very super open-minded. Like most of the time, whatever that you ask me, I just answer it and I keep my mind rather empty.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's like a feeder. You put the question
Mm.
and then I feed it back. Yeah. So but of course, because there's really trust, right? So I trust you as my coach, and therefore I will go along with it. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a very important thing because usually I don't really trust a lot of people unless they have proven themselves, blah, 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 right? So this is the position I put myself
Mm.
in the roller coaster, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Then the experience I get is that when you first talk about the bucket of expectation, so it was useful because of the word bucket, and I have
Mm.
something to visualize.
Mm.
The heaviness, right? So that's something emotional.
Mm.
The the picture. So when you ask me about the picture, yeah, that was useful. You know, when I was being emotional about, let's say, my parents' thing,
Mm.
I think what you did probably was asking a question to pull myself out of it. So to pull me out of it, like example, how would the image change? Yeah, how would the image of my parents change? And then you said like, okay, so you're artist, right? So you can recreate. So again, that reminds me of the the agency that I have to change
Mm.
my perception.
But that's because you also said something. You said that this may not be reflective of reality, but this is what it looks like to me.
Oh, true. Okay. Then the comedy hack lah. Don't know how it came
Mm.
up. That was a great one. That was the best hackathon ever. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. That was the resolution.
or is
That
it?
was the resolution that happened.
Really?
From there, I mean, whatever, I don't know why, I can't remember how it came up, but the fact that it came up and it was a combination of everything that you wanted for yourself, that was the resolution point.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, then the one that you said about something find that within you, within me. Oh, that was a new one. Never had that question before. Yeah, and then in relation to how I can view this opportunity. So it all ties back.
It's funny how, as you describe this, it's almost reflective of the way that you describe the comedy hackathon, where you don't know what comes up, you just improv it in the moment, you're just going with what's happening in the moment. You don't see where it's going, but it comes back to something useful.
Yeah. Yeah, it always does. Because that is the intention.
Thanks for sharing the perspective of a client. And I get what works for you. So visual imagery, like you feel like you need to, like, if you can see stuff, it's faster for you, right?
Yeah.
Anything else that worked or didn't work for you?
No, I think nothing in the moment. Yeah. I guess it was perfect.
Oh, thank you. It was, I mean, I think you jumping in the roller coaster played a big part, for sure.
Yeah, I guess it
Because
was. Yeah.
because I
Sorry.
think the way that I coach requires that.
Oh, okay.
In PCD is very structured. Like, if we
Yeah.
could have done that, but if I were to sort of really, that's still in the background. If, like, you unpack the conversation, you will still see that happening. But this is what it feels more like at the what I would define at the MCC level, where you're really taking stuff in a moment. So if you notice, I try, or I would rarely rely on going back to, oh, you said this, shall we unpack that? And it was always picked up from where you last left off,
Okay.
because you were there in that moment. So we work with what's in that moment. What kind of questions do you have as a coach about how the whole thing was run?
Wow. This one next level. Wait.
I mean, it just occurred to me too, but I think it'll be useful to unpack, right? Like why?
Wow. Okay, wait, what's your question again?
Like, so what if, as a coach, having gone through that, or as a coach, having gone through that coaching process,
Yeah.
what questions do you have about what happened, about how the coaching was done, about what I was thinking?
I think my question would be that even though you mentioned you picked up where you last left off, it did feel also that there was some kind of guiding principles or sequence. So the roller coaster ride, right? It was, of course, up and down, but it still felt like it was within something. We didn't go like super crazy or off track. Yeah. So there was this very encompassing feeling. Yeah. And therefore I felt safe to it, to like say, right? Yeah. So yeah, so then that if I were a coach, then I will ask you about the other side of the picture, where I don't buy that it is just picking up where you last left off. Yeah.
Okay. So in this case, the structure. So, like, the roller coaster still has a track, like the track has to be built a
Yes,
certain way, right?
that's right. Yeah.
In this particular session, it was primarily CCI,
Oh,
because it's an open session. We are still scoping. So we're not particularly, the only thing that we're working towards is, what do you, like, you need an idea of what to scope from this point onwards.
yeah.
Right? So therefore, that's where we apply the CCI model, where you're exploring current, change, ideal, and then with that picture, you would know what needs to happen now to fulfill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be the primary thing.
Okay.
You started off with current, so you describe a lot about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And then you went into change, because just naturally the painting opened that up. What will you begin to change? And then from the change, when you extrapolated that, and you begin to bring up, it wasn't completely fantasy. You were bringing up things that exist inside you, right? If I were to use our lingo, it will be, parts of yourself that you've sort of put aside, or you don't prioritize because that's not the right thing to do. It's not useful. It's, you know, but they were coming up, they're there. So that eventually sort of led into the ideal around who you want to be and what you want to do in your life. So that was the flow that
Okay.
that happened.
Current, change, and ideal, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. That's a
And
nice.
then we tie it back to the current, because if we're looking at, okay, how do you then what do you want to work on? Right? It has to come back into today, right? Applicable, and you know what's happening in the present for you. But how do you take that, you know, what you're learning from that journey, change, ideal, how do you take the insights from there and then the big picture and apply it back here? So that's how we talk about, like, in coaching, there is, you need a transcendence point for a person to be able to resolve what they're going through right now.
Yeah.
Einstein said it in the quote around about, you can't solve a problem with the very same thinking that produced it.
Yeah, that's right.
Dynamics that you face was you being type A and you being type B, and then there's this conflict, right? So the transcendence point is something that has to be able to encompass both these parts, which in this case, what came up was that the comedy hackathon, the creative aspect married with the useful aspect.
Yes, true.
Right? So that's one transcendence point. The other transcendence point is that dream. You didn't talk much about it in today's session, but that dream around setting up your own thing and being able to solve a problem and obviously bring value to the world. That's a transcendent point that we borrow to now. Okay, with that lens, how do you look at your current situation? And that's where you're able to come up with, like, the purpose and the deeper meaning behind what you're going through.
Because now it's the transcendent lens brings in another framework.
And it brings in that greater part of you, that bigger part of you.
Okay, I see.